tradition of the professor and the pupil, and of course the guy with the Phillies hat is the pupil. Now he wears it well. Stephen Reichel, glad to have you back, man.
Yeah, doesn't matter how bad my team plays. I always show them love. I may yell at them, may scream at them, may tell them to do all kinds of things, but I'll be a Philly four for four till I die, my friend.
Oh, that's okay. That's where your allegiances are. I get it. Last week I had a good boxing show with a young prospect by the name of Giovanni Best. Tonight we're going to talk about the sweet science, talking boxing and the sweet science. And then coming up after our show, we'll have 108 baseball talk, plenty to talk about there. Oh, the World Series is done. And we're going to be talking about have an all-star crew coming on a little bit later, and that show's going to get beefed up. Also, before we go into this any detail, future Professor and Pupil shows are going to be running at approximately 9:15 p.m. Eastern time to try to get the baseball in show ahead of time. Steve's also going to join me on No Limits from time to time as we talk about CTE with Jennifer Horspool as well as Will Person. They've found me through Steven, all his good work, and now all of a sudden he gets to join the party. All right, so that's what's ahead for us. All right, Steven, let's roll. We got about 6 topics. We're going to pack a lot of punch into them. Is that an analogy? Oh, daddy, you know it, man. You like to talk about those there as well. So, all right, let's get to it. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, poised to draw bigger numbers than Canelo Alvarez, versus Crawford on November 14th at the Kasai Center. It's shaping up to be a big Netflix blockbuster. It could surpass 41.4 million. Do you believe that, Steven?
Absolutely not.
You don't? Okay.
Listen, Jake Paul's a great promoter, but that being said, he's also in a point right now where you don't know if Gervonta Davis is going to be in the fight because of the legal situation he found himself in. Right. I don't know if you're privy to that. He wound up kidnapping his girlfriend. There's all kinds of stuff going on behind the scenes. Rumors is that he could potentially be replaced in the fight. As we're getting down to like the last week or so, I heard rumors over the past day that they reached out to a couple former UFC fighters to see if they might be interested in it. But I'm going to call BS on this for a couple reasons. Listen, Jake's an amazing promoter. He absolutely is. Some of these fights I don't really care for. I haven't been shy about saying that. That being said, when you have the controversy surrounding these fights, the main thing I think that is in his favor is the fact that he has 2 former UFC champions who have fought each other several times in the past on the card. Anderson Silva is going to be boxing Chris Weidman. They famously had 2 big fights. Chris knocking Anderson out for the first time in the UFC. Then the unfortunate situation where he wound up breaking his leg. Obviously, this is a pure boxing fight, so that should be a fun matchup. But I think that's the only thing that may help them hit some of those numbers, but I don't think he's going to get it. I don't think they're going to outdraw Canelo Bud Crawford. I don't think they're going to outdraw some of the average UFC shows that are going on, because when you put together a fight like this, Tank Davis is damn near 5 weight classes below him. They've had to move the venue a few times. There's been a lot of stuff surrounding this. I don't think people are as hyped for this fight as they were for what we just seen UFC boxing basically do with Dana White's being involved with that Crawford Canelo fight. I don't think they're going to outdraw him. I don't think they have enough hype around. I don't think they have enough guys on the card to get people interested. As I was saying, Anderson Silva and Chris Weidman's a good jumping off point, but he doesn't have that big name in there, and that's probably why he was reaching out to the Francis. He claims he was reaching out to Francis Ngannou. I don't believe that for a half a second. We'll see what happens over the next week or so if there's if that fight is staying on, if they're going to move on to another opponent. We'll see what happens along those lines. But I do not think that they're going to hit those numbers money-wise, viewership-wise, etc.
Okay. Fair enough. Everybody knows it's you. Anderson Silva, who's he fighting again?
He's fighting Chris Weidman, the guy that knocked him out, that he lost his UFC title from.
Oh, Chris Weidman. Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. You got it, man. Why do you think you're my exclusive boxing guy, Mr. Reichel? Because he
Listen,
Thanks,
listen,
George. I can
I,
appreciate you.
I'm no expert, but I definitely love my combat sports. So I definitely try to keep up with all the comings and goings of the combat sports world, regardless if we're talking boxing, MMA, bare knuckle. Obviously, when we get to my agenda this week, you'll hear who I'll be talking to this week. Had a great interview with Rain Wells, yesterday evening. Talked about some fight wax. Talked about the sponsored fighter community that he's trying to build, try to help athletes, connect with some more sponsors outside of just your local stuff. Go ahead, brother.
Great stuff. Okay, well, let's talk about Terrence Bud Crawford has officially vacated the WBA junior middleweight 154-pound title. In its place, Alex Barau has been elevated from interim champ to full-time WBA champion. Crawford continues his dominance in the middleweight division. Your thoughts about this?
It's one of the things I cannot stand about boxing. I can't.
Okay.
When now obviously he had to fight outside of his current title to capture another title, right?
Right.
And a lot of times when they do that, it's almost immediate. Like, all right, we're it hasn't even been more than a handful of months since Crawford fought Canelo, right? And we're immediately stripping him of this title, and that's one of the reasons why he did it is he's a multiple weight champion, and beating Canelo, all that other stuff is great, but then when you have the WBA, the WBC, IBF, whoever it is, and they strip him of this title, taking away from him that title without even offering him a fight, in my opinion, is egregious to the fighter. And this is a lot of the reasons why I think people tune out from boxing, because there's so many different titles, there's so many different weight classes. Guys are going to go challenge themselves for this, and then things that they've already worked hard for to get, you're stripping away from them. I have a problem with that. Right. I get why you do it. You want to keep everything fresh and new and keep everything moving forward. You don't want to have injuries or fighters wanting to take opportunities holding up that division. But then what does that title ultimately mean? Because that fighter didn't win that title from Terrence Crawford, right? So what does that title actually mean? That then you hear those phrases going around, people calling fighters paper champions. And this is why. Like, I could see it if he refused to defend it. If he wouldn't go back down and make a fight with the guy who they put the interim status on. That would make sense to me. But when you're just going out there ripping a title away from him so you guys can put on whatever fight for this guy, I don't get it. I don't. It doesn't make any sense to me, and this is why boxing is in this weird place. But I know you're going to have something to say on this. What are your thoughts on it, brother?
Well, you did a lot of my talk. One thing I will have to worry about this show is I'm not losing my voice on this show because you did a good job with it. But what I do have to say, it is a dicey situation. That's what gotten boxing into trouble. Because I'm with you. You don't want the paper champion business. You really don't. You want to see these guys go at it in the ring. That's what it's really all about. Okay. And you're not seeing it. But geez, Pete, like I said, you're right on you're right on point, SR. Great stuff, man. Keep it rolling. All right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'll have more to say on this topic. Evander Holyfield claims he surpassed Muhammad Ali as the greatest heavyweight ever. The quote is, "I'm the only 4-time heavyweight champion in the world. He was 3 times. I was 4." All right. Well, I have plenty to say, but go ahead. I'm leading off with you.
Listen, I love Evander Holyfield. I do. That is some enormously large shoes to fill. Granted, he fought at a time where a lot of the guys were fighting. This is when boxing was, in my opinion, the end of its heyday is during Evander's run. Doing what Cassius Muhammad did was he beat even better guys, and I'm not sitting there saying that Evander had easier fights or trying to diminish anything. Evander of that time, I believe like you put him on that Mount Rushmore of that era. You know,
Right.
he is one of the faces of the 90s 2000 boxing world. You can't there's nothing you could say or do to take anything away from that. So but I do think boxers are the most egotistical athletes that we have on this planet. And I don't fault him for feeling that way or thinking that way, especially when you know you have one more title reign over him. One of the reasons why Muhammad had his title taken from him was because of political reasons.
Right,
So
that's true.
So it's one of these things like, you know, he had to overcome a lot. He had to sit out for a period of time because they wouldn't license him. Then then he had to go fight George. He fought some of the premier guys of his time, and that's like it's a hard thing for me to even sit there and think to kind of put Evander over Muhammad as we're talking about that heavyweight division. It's really hard for me to do, and Muhammad was before my time. You know, I'm born in '80, so it's one of those things.
Really? Seriously, really?
Yes, sir. So it's like I didn't really get to see it outside of stuff that documentaries you've seen, movies you've seen, whatever you see on YouTube, etc. So it's like I didn't really appreciate what he was, but I knew what he meant, what the effect that Muhammad had on the world, and that's why I just can't put him there. I don't think it's anything to take anything away from Evander. He is without a doubt the Mount Rushmore of guys of that time, but I can't put him over Muhammad. I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it.
Well, don't matter what time you were born. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid with this one. No way, Evander. Do you think you could have beaten George Foreman when George Foreman was knocking people out like that? No way. I don't care. But here's the thing. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I got to know Muhammad Ali. He's in my book, people. And by the way, we're going to go to a station break after this topic. Muhammad Ali, when it comes to chess, is definitely as good as it gets. He outsmarted him like you wouldn't believe. His trainer, Angelo Dundee, rest in peace, contacted me when Sugar Ray was there after I covered Ali real well. And I can be good friends with him. So, Evander, it's good that you won the title 4 times. I get it, but Muhammad Ali is Muhammad Ali, and Steven mentioned it, and that's right. You know, the reality is he got knocked out for political reasons, and I actually had an opportunity to visit his gravesite over in Louisville, Kentucky, the Cave Creek or Cave Hill Cemetery out in Louisville. It was cool stuff. It really, really, really was. So,
yeah.
No, and I met Evander many years ago, Super Bowl 33 over in the media center. It was neat. I mean, very approachable, really a nice guy. I get that, but sorry, Evander, I can't do it. Muhammad Ali, easily. And if you don't believe me, Candy Epling will give you a reason when she comes in with this station break and talk about our book and what else is going on. Time for Candace.
Station break? Really? Seriously, really? South Florida Tribune published a book, Lessons to the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, or the professor, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to broadcasts, you can always catch us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise, you can always call Scott, 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. But most importantly, if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Click it, like us, share us, and then turn on your notification button so you don't miss any of this awesome programming. Monday nights, we talk. Normally, you guys talk at least a little boxing, if not the whole show. And then we talk baseball. Tuesday nights, we talk football. Wednesday nights on Sports Exchange, you honestly have no idea what Scott's got up his bag of tricks. You and me both. And I'm married to the guy. So, yeah, I mean, really. So you got to tune in to find out. But we also do No Limits 3 of the 4 weeks. And we're talking to a former U.S. Olympic bobsledder who is trying to raise funds for CTE and treating it. Very important topic. So make sure when you tune into those notifications and you see us go live on No Limits, you're tuning in. Then Thursday night, sports wrap. Normally we sprinkle in a little hockey. You just never know. Motor City Mad Mouse show. Scott does one-on-one interviews. But then on Fire Up, as Scott affectionately calls it, it's the country club. That's where I lead the show. And you never know what we're going to be talking about on there either. Okay, we've heard enough of my voice. Back to you, Scott. Back to the great program. Enjoy.
No, Candy, before you get off, I like to be referred to as I'm married to the guy. The guy. I'm telling you, that is pretty cool. I like that. I enjoy that. Great stuff, Candace. It's getting better with every show.
Thanks.
All right. That's good that she's married to the guy. Okay. All right. From this guy to my other pupil here, we're going to talk about Gus D'Amato, who told Mike Tyson he was one man who he couldn't beat was, you guessed it, Muhammad Ali. Gus said, no matter what you do, you wouldn't beat Muhammad Ali. That's respect paid to the greatest of all time. What are your thoughts about this assertion from Gus? Or Cus?
It's
Cus.
I know you're talking about Cus D'Amato. I know what you're trying to get at there, brother. And Mike's even kind of reiterated that fact. People have asked him over the years, what do you think of this, this dream matchup? He was like, he would have beaten me before I even gotten in the ring. He was such the aura that really surrounds Muhammad Ali is the mental warfare.
Right.
And he did it to everyone. He broke everyone down, just about everyone down with it. Like it's very rarely that somebody could turn off, and he would just find things that would get you out of your game, to get you to stop doing what you normally do the best and play into his game. He was the best at it. Now watching what happened to Mike after before he went to jail, the Buster Douglas fight, right. when he came back, how Evander Holyfield, was getting him off his game, regardless if you feel that it was headbutts or just the way the guys were leading in. He got Mike out of it. If Evander Holyfield could have gotten Mike out of his game, what do you think Muhammad Ali would have done? Like, I mean, let's be honest here. Did I think Mike had things that could have absolutely been problems for Muhammad? Absolutely, especially at the time that he was coming in. Muhammad wasn't getting in there with him. But if you put a 30-year-old Muhammad Ali and a 30-year-old Mike Tyson in the ring together, we're talking video game stuff here. So it's like it's not something we can really have the conversation about. But I'm sure if you ask Mike would tell you the same thing, that Muhammad would have found a way to get in his head, and he would have found a way to beat him, inside of 12 rounds. When we talk about that word that everyone likes to throw around in sports, GOAT, right? Muhammad Ali is the mold of that. And it's for a multitude of reasons. It's what he did. It's how he did it. It's how he used that mental warfare to his advantage on multiple different occasions. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Cus saying that. I think that was at the time when that stuff was being said. I think it was a way for him to try to humble Mike, to get him to be hungrier, to dive deeper into his craft. It's one of those things that we can debate it to the end of time. Mike was an amazing heavyweight. He was a ferocious heavyweight, but he had one amazing skill. He didn't have the toolkit that Muhammad had. So I agree with Cuss. Like I said, Mike has also reiterated the fact that he believes as well that Muhammad probably would have gotten the better of him. So it's one of these things, but it's something that boxing enthusiasts will debate till the end of time, at least in my opinion.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you're right. Not only that, I'll take it a step further. Rope-a-dope. Remember that? Rope-a-dope, laying on the ropes. You may not have been alive to see the fight. I know you came.
Yeah, I mean,
I know you watched it. Come on.
I've seen both movie and clips of it.
Right.
Here's the thing: Mike wasn't like George. His thing was a way bit different from you. He had superior speed and head movement. Was kind of what Mike was like. His ability to get in and out of the danger zones with delivering multiple combinations was kind of his thing. But I agree with you. I think what he would have baited Mike into, he'd have been swinging at air as much as Mike. Like
that's my point.
Some of those clips you see Mike dipping and dodging around, and these guys are throwing all these things, and he would have did the same thing to Mike. He'd have frustrated Mike to the point where he would have got out of, and that's when Muhammad would have jabbed him to death, would have 1-2-3'd him to death. That's what he would have did. At least that again, that's how I feel about it.
Well, thanks for making my point for me. Okay, rope-a-dope, and George Foreman said if he ever wanted to rebound, no, he'd find another way to beat me. So he was done with one fight, and that was it. George got smart and started making George Foreman grills instead of getting grilled by Muhammad Ali. That's another story.
They actually became friends after that too. It wasn't like this stain or rivalry for him. And also, if I remember correctly, when George came back, Muhammad was one of the ones that kind of helped him along them lines as well. So this is what I'm talking about. Muhammad had effects on the game that are way deeper than what happened in between the ropes.
Listen, I got to spend a week with Muhammad Ali here in North Miami at a place called Allen Park Gym. One of the nicest people, most approachable people, Steven, everybody out there watching and listening to the show on the various platforms that you'll ever meet. Muhammad Ali is the greatest of all time for a lot of reasons. Number one, he was a heck of a fighter, but more importantly, he was a greater person than he was a fighter. And that's the thing I could take out about it. And he is in my book, Lessons on the Microphone. I'm 19 years of age at the time, but I'm going to tell you something. 18, 19, to meet a guy of this caliber and all the friends that subsequently came out of it, it's what relationships are all about. And that's why I need to talk about him on a couple occasions with Mike Tyson, of course, Evander Holyfield, because Muhammad Ali still reigns above them all. Great point, Stephen, all the way around, okay? And because you have YouTube these days, for a lot of you folks that were not old enough to watch a fight, go to YouTube and search for the Ali Foreman. That, to me, if that isn't a masterful performance, find me one better than that for a guy that was a tremendous, a big-time underdog. Okay, two more topics we're going to get to. One, Stephen, could Jake Paul actually be a top-tier fighter if he took boxing seriously?
No.
You don't, okay?
Again, amazing promoter. When you're this many fights in, you haven't fought in anyone in your age range within 2 weight classes of each other. I've been watching Hasim Rahman Jr. I've been watching Kenzie Morrison call out this guy for the better part of 2 years now, and they haven't even entertained it. He's fighting Tank Davis, who's a 135-pound fighter. Last time Jake Paul weighed in was over 200 pounds. How is it going to be the pound for pound anything? He hasn't even fought a ranked opponent to date, right? So you sit there and throw in at the end if he's taking it seriously. I don't think he's taking it seriously once. Is he training? Is he putting the work? Absolutely. But he's playing a game with a deck of rigged cards. When you're fighting guys that are over the age of 35, 40, sometimes 50, even 60 years old, what do you think the results is going to be? He has the edge in every fight. When he fought Nate Diaz was injured going into that boxing match. The only one I would say that you can sit there and he can hang his hat on is Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva's over 40 years old. Again, and also again, back to what I was just sitting there saying, he was a middleweight champion fighting at 185 pounds when he was in the UFC. That is 2 weight classes below him. This is what I'm talking. He can't be the pound for pound anything. He's the pound for pound. Top 5 promoter in the combat sports world. Absolutely. Again, I'll continue to say it. The smartest business decision he made in the boxing side of things was attaching himself to Amanda Serrano, which gave him some legitimacy. What he's done with female boxing, thumbs up, dude. I can't take that away from him. But as an actual boxer, until he, not one time, when you do it for several years where you're fighting ranked opponents in your age range, in your weight class, I will give him that respect. Until then, you're a clown, you're a circus show, you're a side freak, and there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, listen, when we're all going to watch these, we want to be entertained. I'm not going to sit there and completely tear him down and sit there saying like, he's this fraud, he's phony. But look, anyone who's been watching combat sports long enough knows he's playing with a rigged deck.
You're great, brother. That's all I'm going to say about it. One more topic to get to. I don't have an answer for that. There comes a point when you're in this business that you just preserve your voice when somebody's on a roll, and that was one of those times where I'm not losing my voice over this show because I got you making up for it. Great stuff, Raichel. I'm proud of my pupil, man. This guy's done unbelievable stuff. I'm proud of Mr. Philly here, or whatever I decide to call him, depending on the day of the week and the mood I get into. All I know is he is my heir apparent here on the network, and he's done a magnificent job helping me with a lot of things that we need to take care of. I'm proud to have Steve Raichel as the guy. Not only the pupil, he is my heir apparent. So for those of you who hear me the first time, there's a reason why I take my heir apparents very seriously, and this guy is it. Final topic. We're going to talk about Lennox Lewis. I also met him actually in Vegas one time, but he actually turned 60, and he's convinced that he'd have beaten Alexander Usyk. He wouldn't have lasted with me. Do you believe that?
Now, there's another one. It took a bigger, stronger man to finally rip that title away from Lennox Lewis. I was absolutely torn apart watching him beat the ever-living daylights out of Evander Holyfield. We were just talking about, right?
Right.
Lennox Lewis was a special fighter. I will never take that away from him. Usyk, though, he again, we were just talking about guys having multiple different tools in their tool belt. He's not a guy that just has a power punch. He's not a guy that does the defensive boxing and just and is a counter puncher. He can beat you in multiple different versatility of ways, and we talk about that in other sports. Teams finding multiple ways to beat you. That's what Usyk is. And, that being said, I don't think that he would have been able to overcome that reach advantage that Lennox had over just about everyone that he fought.
Right.
But again, we're talking about these hypothetical super fights. Go play a video game that has both of them in there and find out for yourselves, guys. I mean, that's the only other thing I could say, because that's the only way you can really judge it. I mean, and yes, we're talking it's a fantasy fight. These fights that don't happen anymore for a reason. And we talk about, some of the great boxers of that era. We were just talking, Evander's one of those faces on that Mount Rushmore. Well, so was Lennox Lewis.
Right.
Lineal champion. He had multiple different IBO, IBF, WBC. Like he had all the belts for I think it was a matter of 3 years. He had every belt. I mean, he was our the closest thing we could have had to a modern day Muhammad Ali. Just he didn't play the mental game. He was a straightforward, soft-spoken guy when it came to the media, but when he got it into that ring, he would absolutely bludgeon people. So it's hard for me to sit there and say that he's wrong, but it's also hard for me to sit there and say he's right too, because we're talking about hypothetical, we're talking about there's like almost 30 years of boxing between these guys. So how are we going to be able to judge it? I'm not taking anything away from Usyk. I think that he would have been able to find a way. This is one of those things. If it were let's just say if it were to happen, it wouldn't have been able to be settled in one fight. This was something I think if that those two were possibly being able to put it in the ring at the same time in their primes, I think it's one of those ones where you would have to have a trilogy to figure out who really is the best pound for pound, best heavyweight champion of the world from those eras.
Well said. That's all right. Hypothetical is not bad in boxing. It's all we get anyways, but it certainly allows people like you and I to talk about it, think about it, and all that. But I think one of the reasons why we get drawn into some of these hypotheticals is some of these guys, even like Tommy Morrison, fall a little bit later to oppose some of these guys. So while we end up understanding hypotheticals, when some of these fights happen, they definitely happen. Great stuff, Steven. So what we're going to do is I'll turn the floor over to you and talk about your agenda. Great stuff, though, Steven.
I mean, obviously, we'll be back here tomorrow night inside the pigskin with our round table of experts, so to speak. Obviously, Wednesday morning we're back for the family end. Myself, Ben Troop, Marvin Powell will be joining us. I guess we'll start letting the cat out of the bag. Both Marvin and Ben are going to be getting together Friday mornings and getting ready to launch a new NCAA football show to specifically just cover college athletics. Going to be looking forward to the content they're gonna bring for that. Obviously, being that I'm no longer having technical issues, the real and the rare is back on a weekly basis. Just had Rain Wells on, yesterday afternoon. Going to be bringing back another BKFC winner from BKFC Michigan. Justin Street's going to be joining me this Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So, as your guys are winding down for the second slate of football games, make sure you hop on here and show me and Justin some love and hopping on there. And speaking of love, I'm also going to be launching a show prior to our baseball programming here on Mondays. Me and local Philadelphia content creator Justin Florio will be getting together. We'll come up with a show name, but we should be on here from 6 to 7 p.m. talking football, talking Philadelphia sports, having some fun. We're gonna be bringing a lot of fun content here to the South Florida Tribune Media Network, and with all the growth we're doing, we're less than 150K from a million views. And we're just going to continue to grow, continue to put out great content, and continue to have fun here on this great network.
Well, Steven, once you get that show up and going, what I'd like you to do after a few rounds with it, bring them on our Professor and the Pupil one night so that we can bring them in prime time. But I'll let you get your feet wet with that first. So great stuff. Great to have you back on Monday night. And I'm proud to have you involved with us, period. You've been an unbelievable guy, and to call you my heir apparent to me, I'm proud as heck to do it, because I can't trust too many people to do exactly what I ask you to do. And you've gone out there and handled it well. Steven's going to be appearing on a lot of different shows on our network to get familiar with the different shows as we continue to add shows and talent. And that's what I've been working on during the day. And some of the people that we've got out there are just unbelievable. And to have Steven in there, getting to know these people and some of the things, it's just an unbelievable experience. So great job, Steven. I'm proud of you, man. You've really come a long way, and we have a lot more things to get accomplished, and we're going to do exactly that. So why don't you let everybody know how they get a hold of you? Candy will take us home with a final station break. Keep in mind, 108 Stitches Baseball Talk follows Professor and the People. Go ahead, Steven. Let everybody know how they can reach you.
Obviously, real easy. Just type in my name, both Steven Rochelle, Facebook and Instagram. I should pop right up there. On X, Twitter, TikTok, it's Steve Sports Talk 1. Same thing with with YouTube. Show me some love over there, and again, we're going to be on here multiple times during the week. Get used to hearing my voice. Get used to seeing this ugly mug, my friends.
I do that, and when I'm ready to go on a cruise, which won't be too far off in January, you get to have more. You can see this guy more than he already knows what his workload is. Get all the other stuff taken care of. When the Motor City Madmouth and she called me the guy, I'll call her the woman. Okay, go on a cruise and I do videos and go ballistic like I did the last time in Europe. They'll be all right too. So, all right, Sandy, take us home for a final station break. Thank you. The woman.
From that guy.
Yeah.
I know that guy.
I know that guy too.
Never heard of that before, but it's okay. I'll take it.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morgenroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content. So go check it out. www.southfloridatribune.com, by the way. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to advertise or sponsor any one of our great shows, call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. But most importantly, that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner. If you see it, that means you haven't subscribed to us. What are you really waiting for? Click it, like us, and share us with all your friends and family. Anybody you think would like our programming. And then turn on your notifications so you're notified every time that guy goes live, Mr. Scott. Monday nights, he talks boxing. Or you never know what they're going to have on this show. More than likely, it's boxing.
Correct.
Then later, it's going to, and just so a programming note, watch for details, and that's why you should have the notifications turned on. He's going to be swapping, and he's going to do the baseball show first. So that's why it's really important to turn on those notifications so you're notified every time we go live. But he does baseball shows on Monday night. Tuesday nights, it's Inside the Pigskin, and that's where we are all on and we're all talking football. Wednesday nights, that guy is I never know what he's got up his bag of tricks, and neither do you. So you got to tune in on Wednesday nights to find out what he's got up that bag of tricks on Sports Exchange. And then we do No Limits, where we talk to a former U.S. Olympic bobsledder about CTE and mental health, and brain, not just CTE, but any brain injury. So tune in to find out. Thursday nights, fire up. Come join my country club. We have so much fun. You just got to join the country club. But he also does sports rap, talking hockey. So again, turn on those notifications so you are notified anytime that the South Florida Tribune goes live. Scott, I think I did it pretty good this time. Anything that you can think of, or you know?
Well, when I hear that guy all the time, and she looks to find a way to get a reaction out of me, she knows how to do it. And guess what? She does it well. That's why Stevie keeps his head down, because he can't stop himself from laughing. I get it.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what we're talking about. Just make sure you keep your head up so I know that there's a head and a face there. Otherwise, I'll think one of these bites. Okay, whatever. Great stuff tonight. And yes, no, but Katie does make an interesting point, though. Monday nights when we do the show, our primary sport will be mainly on boxing. And the reason why it will be mainly on boxing is it ties into what Steven's doing with his combat sports as well. So great. I'm glad that everybody picked up on it. That's why I decided to feed off of it. And going forward, boxing will be the primary. If something else comes in, I'll do it. But Candy nailed it. Steve nailed it. And all I got to do is just plan it. But that says 108 Inches Baseball Talk Joy will be coming shortly thereafter this show. In the meantime, on behalf of Stephen Reichel, Candy Eveling, my name is Scott Morgan. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Professor and the People. Stephen and I and Candy, you can see us again tomorrow on Inside the Pigskin, as they have an all-star crew talking about the latest of what's going on in pro and college football. Who knows what else they'll come up with, but there's a lot to take on. And I'm glad he's starting that new show on Friday with Marvin and Ben, because there's a lot of news coming up in college, and it's definitely a show you definitely won't want to miss. So take care, everybody. See you shortly as we go to the diamond. Good night, everybody. And the three of us will see you tomorrow.
Good night.